Meridian Township is turning 175 years old this year. In honor of their year-long celebration and their birthday, HOMTV recognizes their rich history. In the last few years, Wonch Park has received several improvements, including a paved loop trail, a new pavilion, outdoor fitness equipment, and art mural. The costs for the improvements are around the same amount as what it cost to purchase the property in 1969, around $40,000. HOMTV interviewed Ted Wonch in a Reflections episode back in 1993 to talk about the 15 acres the township purchased. We hope you enjoy this throwback as HOMTV takes you to that interview.
It says more to start with, and the person that created that idea is my wife.
Oh.
She started that,
hey,
and we've stuck with this logo for all these years. It's a good one, I think.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And this one is high.
Well, this is one of the quality batteries that we manufacture now, called high torque.
High torque.
Wonch high torque, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. When this land was sold to Meridian Township, then there was a great outpouring and planning to make that park into something of an historical park.
Right,
This is an interesting article you gave me, and I was interested to read that the land, it says, designated for picnic use and ball fields could also hold a reconstructed salt marsh mill, and it said the mill that was there sat on a mill race, and it still runs through the Wonch property.
Yes,
part of it would be used for a mill pond and the recreation of the old mill that would actually grind grain. And they said that the plans also included an historic or older home, at least a century old, brought to the site for a little historical piece of township history. And I see that didn't happen. They did move the toll gate house.
The toll gate house was moved down there, and all the original plans were very good. I think the reason they moved the toll house and changed their mind on that is because of the flood. See, they didn't dare to leave the thing down in there.
So now we have the historical village that's over near the near Township Hall. Well, there's quite a bit of, here's a very nice postcard photo of the old mill. Was that one of the original mills?
That was,
you think?
this grist mill was on the Ferguson side.
On the Ferguson side.
Now they also, there were either one or two mills on the Wonch side at one time. But interestingly, on this mill here, which was called the Salt Marsh Mill, old John Saltmarsh was I can't prove anything because it's way back, but supposedly a relation, shirt-tail relation of
is that right?
the Wonches and the Cooks, yeah.
Well, so you really have a touch of history that goes way back.
I might tell you just kind of an interesting story. When we got out of there 5 years ago, or we were in the lease for 5 years, and the day that we got out, I met Dick Connie at the outside of the battery shop, and I told Dick, I said, I got a lot of memorabilia here, and in about 2 weeks, I'd like to come back and take one last look at the shop, because as I recall, my father used to store a lot of money up in the attic in cigar boxes. Anyway, I let that leak out to Connie. Okay, I know exactly what was up there, and nothing but old tires, wire, mattresses, and so on. And that building was not built too well at the time, and 2x4s and those rafters. But Connie let the word out over here at the township that Wonch is coming in there in about 2 weeks, and he's going to scour around there and pick up some of his dad's old money. My dad has passed away by then. The next day there was 5 township men scrounging around all over that battery shop. One guy even fell through the rafters.
Oh my
Didn't
goodness.
get hurt or nothing. But I just thought you'd like
wonderful.
that story. because I knew exactly what was up there.
Oh,
and probably
gee.
Connie did too. Go ahead, fire the questions at me here.
Oh, well, the plans originally, then, I think this is a wonderful sketch here of the pavilion to
Yeah.
be erected by the Haslett Rotary.
Right, right.
And what do you call that? Is that like a silo, that structure that's round?
Well, that's, I'll tell you, that's kind of, buildings like that were before my time. What they call that, I can't tell you. They call
a
it a hot
drying
corn.
oven?
It's
Yeah.
a grinder of some kind.
A grind, a
And
granary?
tailed in with the mill grist.
Okay. And that didn't work out, but the pavilion did, and the pavilion was erected largely with the help of the Haslett
Right.
Rotary, which you were a
I was
charter
a
member.
I've been in the club for over 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a picture
Here's
of
a
the charter member.
wonderful
I'm not in
photo.
that. I came in a
Okay.
couple years afterwards. But,
We can mention some of the people
oh yes,
met in there.
one of the prominent, probably the most prominent person that was out in this area at the time was Orrin Grettenberger.
Uh-huh.
And he was the president of the club the first year they had this.
Uh-huh.
Others in there is Jim Gober, who stayed in the club, had a 35-year perfect record, just passed away here about 6 months ago. And Dan Willis, I don't want to go through all the names, but they are listed here on the
Is
the
Mr.
corner.
Grettenberger the one who was called OK?
Yeah, okay, Grettenberger.
Okay. And that was his drugstore he had on the corner?
Yeah, and he was the postmaster. He had a little post office right in the same building, and a little counter, soda fountain there.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, of course, the big pioneer. The Sip and Snack gang has been out there a long time. You know that little restaurant
Yeah.
by the barber shop? The Corey family, great people. That's my headquarters every once in a while.
That's your headquarters.
Yeah.
Is there a little joke about one of those men you mentioned?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know if
Val or
This is Jim Corey.
Jim? Okay.
Yeah, I used to go there, and I'd sit up at the counter alone and maybe read the Wall Street Journal or something, and get enthused on it and buy a deluxe hamburger, because he had good ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I ate the whole thing, and just as I finished, he said, "How'd you like it? Was it good?" I says, "Excellent." He says, "Well, thank you, because I didn't put any hamburger in there. I'll give you another one." Yeah, that's a running joke. That's been going on for years. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably...
So I love Okemos. I was born in Lansing, but I feel like my roots are out here. I live here now, and plan to die here.
Well, let's go into a little bit of your personal history. You were born in Lansing in 1920.
Right.
We didn't put the name of your father and mother. Your father's name was?
Was Leslie.
Leslie?
My mother's name was Ethel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my mother, this is interesting, I think, was born right in downtown Okemos.
Oh, is that right?
Just almost on the four corners,
Oh,
right where this Douglas J. Beauty shop is today.
Mm-hmm. And they moved here when they came in with a business, probably.
Yes.
And your mother taught school, you said?
She taught school
country?
for a couple years out by Williamston someplace in a little old farm school.
Mm-hmm. And when they moved out here, then you went to school here, probably? Or East Lansing?
No,
You lived in East Lansing?
I went to school at Eastern.
Oh,
And then
that's right.
I went to Michigan State. And I went out there for 3 years before the war started. And I finished 3 years later, got my degree.
Okay. And sports were your big...
I was in sports. Yes, I played a little football, basketball, and track. Did get 9 letters in high school.
Wow.
But I'm very happy that I was able to go to Michigan State. And one of the things I always remember, because times were even tough then, and a man that gave me the first job out at the school, so I could go to school, with Dr. John Hanna.
How about that?
And so I always have loved that man.
he was a wonderful, wonderful representative of
Right.
the college. Well, after you graduated, well, you spent 3 years in the service
3 years in the service, right?
as a Navy pilot.
As a pilot,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Single wing bomber pilot.
Uh-huh. And then when you came back, you were a PE major in college. So
Right.
then you taught to, where did you teach?
I never did any teaching because I graduated in '46.
Oh.
And I applied for a job around the state.
Mm-hmm.
And my old superintendent, or my old principal at Lansing Eastern,
Mm-hmm.
who was then the superintendent, offered me a job in the Lansing school system. And I'd like to tell you what the figures were.
Oh,
$2,200 for the whole year.
wow.
Now, the only exception to that would be if you were married, and you'd get another $300. Now, I didn't think it was quite worth that, but anyway, my father needed me at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I regret not teaching for a couple of years, but so I got into business quite early, and between the two of us, we grew to where we are today.
Which was a really successful
Well, it was a
enterprise.
hard go, boy. It was hard.
work.
But why I love my father so much is he stuck with it. He
Mm-hmm.
kept the doors open so that I could take advantage of it later on.
In 1948, you married a college.
Yes.
Girl?
College girl, and
Her name was?
Ruth, Scottish. She's Scottish.
Okay.
And they're tough to live with, but I love her. I got, or we have 9 grandkids,
Wow.
and my wife worked with me quite a lot, and we used to do all the book work together at night.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what children do you have? You had.
I got 3 children
Mm-hmm.
and 9 grandchildren. They're kind of scattered around,
Okay.
but all doing pretty well.
Who are the names of your children?
Steve,
Steve?
he's a CPA, doing very nice.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if I'd had to do over again at college, and when I was smart enough, I'd have been a CPA or an attorney like Ted Swift, but I wasn't that smart.
Well, I bet you had a wonderful, a good working life, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very, very fortunate.
Here's an article about your sports activities. Tell me about that.
Oh, well,
It's
I'm
in the paper.
happy to brag, sure.
Sure.
I guess my best sport was pole vaulting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did hold the record for the state of Michigan for 8 years.
Oh,
And,
that's pretty good.
now, in those days, it was just the old bamboo pole.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's catapulting. You know,
Oh, yeah.
these kids they even go up there almost 20 feet.
And you told me you had 2 interests in life to do with music and
Oh,
hymns.
yeah, okay.
Something a lot, I bet maybe your friends don't know.
Well, they will now, maybe. No, I love music, and we have a little band that gets together once in a while. We call ourselves the Basement 5.
That's great.
Now, I guess we say the basement because we don't get out of the basement that often.
Okay.
And if we had to make a living
Uh-huh.
at it, we'd starve to death. But we play a little Dixieland music, which I just
I
love.
love Dixie.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I'll have to have you come over and listen to some of our tapes.
Well, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
What did you play?
I played the clarinet and
Oh,
the
you-
saxophone.
Oh, both.
I played at it, see.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
But, yes, I enjoy it. And I did a little magic in the old days.
Magic.
Yeah.
That was a popular
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was.
a hobby
It
years
was,
gone
and,
by.
I'm not into that too much now. I'm lucky if I can fool my grandkid, but but anyway, I did like it.
Well, that sounds like you've had a wonderful life, and you're now enjoying the fruits of your labors. And
I'm very happy to be a babysitter. I think my wife works more than I do, and she, by the way, is a volunteer over here at Nokomis
oh,
and spends a couple days a week over here.
start with the piece of land that became this Wonch Park. Originally, it was inhabited by the Indians, and they farmed down in that
farmed
park
down in
area?
there.
Along the Red Cedar.
Along the Red Cedar, and I understand they even had, I'm getting you know, secondhand from other people, but they used to have horse stables down in there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Along the river.
But apparently there was a reservation down in there at one
I
time.
see.
Yeah.
Chief Okemos and his band of
Yeah.
followers. In one of these books of history about Okemos, which you shared with me, I found a little beginning about the grist mill that's now the site of Ferguson Park. And this tells about Freeman Bray in 1842 erecting a sawmill down there. He put a dam across the Red Cedar.
Right, right.
And then in 1854, those are the 1800s, 1854, Ebenezer Walker purchased water rights and built a steam saw and a grist mill on the north edge of the park.
Yeah, that's what I understand. And,
so we have quite a bit of history.
there's quite a lot of history
around here.
That goes back quite a ways.
And I thought some of the things that were going to be on the park, you bring that sketch down, let's take
This
a little
one
look
here.
at it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I was interested in seeing what they were going to put up there. A playland and the park shelter, which they have. Picnic groves.
They were going to have a walkway underneath the bridge so that the two parks could be
I
combined.
wonder why they didn't do that.
I think they avoided that because they were concerned about safety.
Okay.
I don't know the real answer on that, but
It would be awfully nice to have
Oh,
now,
it
so,
would.
so you could go to the two parks back and forth without crossing all that traffic along there.
But there was a lot of plans in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's a great park right now. They have soccer fields down in there.
Oh, sure. And
the
I've taken my Girl Scouts hiking back along that mill
Have you?
run, way back in the brush.
oh
where
yes,
it's
yeah, it's nice.
really thick. Well, in addition, I saw in the article about the plans originally, they wanted to have a children's zoo.
Oh, is that right?
Ducks, a
Yeah.
cow, chickens, and pigs, which they never quite got to, and they
Well,
talked
there's a lot
about.
of ducks out there.
Oh yeah, well we got the ducks. They
Yeah.
they really
Yeah.
take over the place. But they were going to have those farm animals there for the children in the summertime, and then return them to somebody's farm
Oh yes,
in the winter. And
that's interesting.
the stone silo, I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been really nice to have. Well, as they developed the park over in the historic village here near Meridian Township, then they brought in the tollgate house. Now, the tollgate house they put into the park to start with.
Yes, that was down there for at least 3-4 years.
And I thought we'd mention a little bit about the history of that structure. I believe it was one of the few remaining tollgate house structures in Michigan.
Exactly where that was on the gravel road, I can't tell you, but it was in the close-in area.
Sometimes they identify it as being about where Denny's is now on Grand River.
Oh, is that right?
And it was on the plank road that was laid
Yes.
between Lansing and Howell,
Right.
and went on to Detroit. And that was a Proctor tollgate
Right.
house. 2 generations of that family
Yes.
took care of that, and so now we have it in the historic village. So the historical village here near the township now is evolving somewhat along the order of what they planned
Right,
for Wonch
right.
Park.
And I'm very tickled that they saved the toll building, and they have the Grettenberger building over there, and even that building where that music. Remember that old music house out there in downtown Oakland, Bartow?
Oh, yeah,
He was
yeah.
a timer too.
The Hathman House, which
Yeah,
they
they
call the brick
saved that.
building. Oh, and you told me where Ferguson Park's name came from.
Yes, there were 2 Ferguson brothers, and they were local builders and very good custom builders. In fact, my dad lived in one of their homes. But they ran up against a very sad event when the two of them and another man went fishing up at Lake Superior, and they drowned up there.
Oh, is that right?
Cut their life short.
So, and now did you tell me, did your mother live in a house or your family live in a house built by Mr. Ferguson?
Yes. In fact, it's the house on the corner of Hamilton and Montrose, up there on a hill where the dentist is today.
Oh, well, you really have quite a few ties to this community, and we're really happy to have you
Well,
in Okemos.
By very fast. Again, I appreciate you inviting me here.
Well,
I'm anxious to see a copy of this too.
Oh, well,
And,
we're really happy that you could join us, and hope that it is something that you'll...
Okay, well, I hope you bugged my mind a little bit, and I hope I didn't stretch the truth along the line.
Everything sounds pretty much on target, so thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, yeah.
I'm Virginia Ederer, and this has been Reflections, and our guest today has been Ted Wonch. We hope you enjoyed this touch of Okemos history.
Wonch Park was the temporary location of the Proctor Tollgate House until it eventually moved to its permanent location at the Meridian Historical Village. In our next episode, we talk about one of the most historic moves in township history in 1973.